In this video, I'm going over the meditation guide. I've been working on it for a few weeks, and I was going to edit it more, but I felt called to just read it as is right now. I'm going to make a lot more videos about meditation in the future, and this was originally going to be a part of like an hour and a half video, and I've actually split it into many different portions. Like there's the manifesto, the culture guide, and it's going into a lot. So I'm just going to jump right into it, and there's a lot I want to talk about, and this is just an introduction to get you started. So the most important thing is knowing how to breathe properly. Many people, when I ask them to take a deep breath, the first thing they do is breathe in their chest. When I ask them to breathe in their belly, they suck in their stomach when they inhale, the exact opposite of how you're supposed to breathe. So like they'll like breathe in through their chest like, and when they inhale, they go like this. Like that is the complete opposite of how you're supposed to breathe. So you should almost always be breathing through your belly. And so you put your hand on your belly and you breathe in through the belly. When you exhale, it goes in. When you blow out, the stomach goes in, not out. You inhale, the belly doesn't come in, it comes out. Okay? So the most important thing is learning how to breathe properly. And I mean like sit there and breathe. And put your hand on your belly and really just focus on breathing in through your belly. And so breathing through your chest stimulates anxiety. You're never going to relax if you don't know how to breathe properly. So if people are anxious, they're more likely to be breathing through their chest the entire time. So like I said, place your hand in the belly button, breathe into your hand. And so as you go throughout your days, just randomly focus on your breath. You're at work, whatever, take a few deep breaths, or just one. 1, 2, 3 times an hour, just do it occasionally. And so with meditation, almost everybody confuses meditation with mindfulness. Meditation and mindfulness are not the same thing. People will say things like, I meditate all the time, when they have never meditated a minute in their life, implying that they meditate while doing other activities. You cannot meditate while doing the dishes. You cannot meditate while walking. You cannot meditate while doing anything else. That isn't meditation. That's called mindfulness, which is the application of awareness, bringing full attention to the present moment, basically without judgment. You're just there. You're not judging it as good or bad. You're just being aware of it. Meditation is the act of stillness. Meditation is the act of mindfulness applied to stillness. So you're in the present moment. Usually you're applying some sort of technique as, like, for example, breathing deeply. And then you're mindful about the sensation of stillness. You're mindful about your breath. You're mindful about a chakra. You're mindful about love. You generate something. You have some object for your attention. Your attention has to go somewhere. Your attention could be on the object of nothingness, the sensation of nothing. And that is a feeling. There's a sensation to the sensation of nothingness is basically just feeling your body. It's feeling your mind. It's feeling you. It's feeling your soul. And so to meditate, you have to have a still mind and a still body. If you're walking, you're not meditating. You're being mindful. So to meditate, you have to have a still mind and a still body. And it's very helpful to apply mindfulness to everything you do, but if you're not taking the time to sit down and close your eyes, you're not meditating. And meditation is extremely important. It's not something that could be neglected. So there are many reasons people avoid meditation, but the biggest reason is they don't know how. You aren't just sitting there, sitting still and wasting your time, hoping that something's going to happen, or trying to experience some vague sense of peace. Yeah, you do that, you're going to think you're wasting your time, because you might be, because you don't know what you're doing. So the goal is to enter the meditative state, which is the flow state applied to the act of stillness. The flow state is a state where you have immense concentration. You lose the track of time and often experience a sense of euphoria. You get high, like a runner's high. A runner runs until they get tired, and all of a sudden they get so much energy they can keep going forever. For me, there's times where I play the drums, and all of a sudden I get really high. I get a huge rush, and like my playing ability is like as if I practiced for another 2 years, and I'm like just playing flawlessly, and just like it's awesome. So, or it's also like falling asleep. So when you're sleeping, you have to relax to allow it to happen. You don't force yourself to sleep. You fall asleep. And so, like, look, have you ever taken a nap? You're laying down, and all of a sudden, all your stress goes away. You kind of even forgot that you're taking a nap. You just lose consciousness, even slightly. Even if you slightly lose consciousness, or you just get into this altered state of consciousness, you're so relaxed, you're so comfortable, you don't want to get up. You might not even be aware of the fact you're even laying down. Like, you're still asleep, but you're still kind of there a little bit. And it's just so comfortable. And then something snaps you out of it. Like, something wakes you up. And then you're back to reality. And you're like, oh, that was so comfortable. I wish I could have been in that longer. That's similar to the meditative state. And so, am I comparing taking a nap to the flow state? Kind of. It's kind of similar. It's an altered state of consciousness. A nap is an altered state of consciousness. That's like, for me, I want to get deep into it, but I have experiences where I'll fall asleep and I have like a powerful spiritual experience that feels like more real than anything. It's like, that's the best way to describe it. Like, I'll like fall asleep and then I don't start dreaming, but it's like dreaming and it's super intense and it feels like ecstatic. And it's usually like I'm being given some information, downloading something. People might not, they might think the word cliche is new age, or they might think the word download is new age or cliche, but it just feels so powerful. Like, I'm just filled with this vigor and power. And it's like a sense of purpose and duty arises. And it's like divine inspiration. And sometimes I will see things and like flash through my mind so fast, and I snap out of it, and I'm like trying to remember so hard what happened. And like right before I became homeless, I saw that I was about to go through the most difficult period of my life, but it's going to be incredibly good for me. I was sitting on my couch, all of a sudden this flash through my mind. It was like 2 or 3 seconds, and I saw so much information. I could not perceive it. What's on the word? I couldn't process it. And I'm like, whoa, I don't know what that was. I had this one girlfriend at the time. I was telling her about it. I was like, I feel like I'm about to go through some shit, 2 months later or whatever, I became homeless. And then I went through it, And every once in a while I'll have something like that happen. And then very often people will be like, oh, it was a hallucination. I was just seeing things, whether it's someone else telling me or it's you telling yourself. And there's another, this is a tangent, but let me give an example. I went camping with this one girl before. I woke up and I had a very powerful experience. I was still asleep, but I was awake. My eyes were closed, but I could see through my eyelids. I could see through the tent. I could see the sun rising through the trees. I could vaguely see the leaves. With my eyes closed, I could see through my eyelids, and through the tent, I could see the sun rising. It felt so peaceful. And then, I don't remember if I saw this girl with my eyes closed or if my eyes were open, but I looked at the girl and I saw a face on the back of her head. It looked like Lord Voldemort from Harry Potter. And I tried to convince myself, you're just seeing things. That was nothing. You should never ignore something like that. You should never ignore something like that. Never convince yourself. And another time, oh my God, like another girlfriend I was driving and I saw this woman. She had no face. It was blurred out. And my girlfriend at the time, she said, that woman had no face. I'm like, you saw that too? It was like scary. It's like, let's get away from here. She's on the phone. Her face was literally blurred out. My girlfriend saw it before I did. And it's like, you don't just tell yourself that you imagined those things. Never tell yourself that you hallucinated. Never tell yourself that you just saw things. So that's a little bit of a tangent about trusting your instincts, trusting your intuition. Another thing, if you're with somebody and you feel like you can't trust them, believe it. But the sensation of fear and trauma-based conditioning is different than intuition and instincts. That's why you have to meditate to develop these instincts. So you meditate, you'll begin to it's possible that you can begin to have experiences like this. And so I'll get back into the guide. So most people are incapable of accessing the meditative state due to an underutilized activity hormone production. If your body's producing hormones for activity and you're not spending them in exercise, you're going to spend them in thinking or anxiety. So if you're meditating and you're just like uncomfortable, that literally is activity hormones in your blood. That's what it is. You can spend activity hormones by jumping rope before you meditate, extremely helpful. You could go for a run. I used to roller skate. You can apply specific meditation techniques, which you're not going to be able to do initially, but you can spend activity hormones in intense concentration. Like imagine going to the gym and you're so fucking pumped, you're full of energy. That intensity, like you're working out like so hard, you're like, it's like your adrenaline's through the roof. You could apply that into a meditation with extreme pinpoint focus, where your consciousness is just lit up and you're in this intense state. But you also have this powerful sense of peace at the same time, where there's a lot of varieties of states. Like you can spend your activity hormones in those states. You can do breathing techniques, powerful breathing techniques to spend them, for example. But that's more advanced stuff. So generally, you're going to have to go for a walk and stretch before you meditate, or do something more intense, depending on how much you need to exercise. So jump rope is very convenient. Jump rope. Get a jump rope. So, and if you're getting bored while meditating, you could be too tired. But the thing is, sometimes being tired could be good for meditation. Sometimes it helps you enter deeper states. But sometimes you just don't have that juice, that spark that takes you into that altered state. In Vedic terms, they call it ojas, or O-J-A-S. I've only read it. I've never heard someone say it. So if you don't have the ojas or ojas, it's called life force energy. The reason people do NoFap is to retain your ojas, or however you pronounce it. So like, make sure it's recording. Now look at this. I was recording. All of a sudden, I need to check my camera. I checked my video. My video stopped, but I had the instinct to check it. I could have ignored that, but I knew the video stopped with no indication whatsoever. That's intuition. It was immediate. I had a feeling to check it. I checked it like, okay, the last 5 seconds I lost. That's intuition. Perfect example, right? You meditate, you develop these instincts, and it can save your life. The most creative geniuses in the world figure out their inventions or whatever through intuition. A musician figures out these things through intuition, not through thinking and calculating, but it's divine inspiration. So I don't know what the last thing I said was. I know I was talking about the ojas, but you can stimulate your ojas with substances, but is that always healthy? Not necessarily. It depends how you do it. You could stimulate your ojas with high meat. You could stimulate your ojas by sucking an egg before you meditate. You might not be able to get into a heightened state of consciousness because you're protein deficient. You need to suck an egg. You could fast for a week and your body is full of emergency hormones and your adrenaline's through the roof and you have powerful experiences. But that's not healthy because you are sacrificing your ojas for temporary experience. Your life force energy. Let me make sure it's still recording. Yes, it is. There's no indication that the video stops. Like, okay, how do I, how am I supposed to know when it stops in the future? Like, usually the shutter closes. The shutter didn't close when I did it this time. Okay, so when people take stimulants like salt or coffee, you are taking stored ojas and wasting them, basically. It's like, release everything right now for a powerful experience, but then you're left without it. But if you suck a raw egg, you're giving yourself ojas. You're not taking away. You drink coffee, you're stimulating the nutrients in your body. It's like you're sacrificing your life force for temporary energy. That's what happens when you fast. That's what happens when you smoke weed. That's what happens when you drink coffee or eat salt. And I don't think chewing weed is always bad. It can be bad if you overconsume it to the point where it depletes you, but you can consume it in a balance to where it can use a little bit, but it doesn't take too much. And you might say that you can do that with fasting or coffee. Or have people consumed coffee in their times in history and it has benefited them? Sure. But I would never, because I have better techniques, better things to do that are healthier in the long run. So I can continue to have amazing experiences when I'm 90, 60, 90, 100, 120 years old. And the thing is, you consume coffee, sure, temporary benefit, but a lot of negatives that people usually get. And you might think that you get no negatives and that it's okay for you as an individual, but you're not going to, in my opinion, reach that insane pinnacle of consciousness that nobody's ever seen before, living like that. 30 years from now, you're going to be depleted. You've been using that for so long. You live with patience. and focus on the long-term vision and build a really solid foundation. Don't just do the fucking Darko salt water and feel good immediately. It's not actually healthy. Don't fast. Don't, stop detox by eating cooked food. Don't do whatever these things are, because focus on building the foundation so in the future you have an amazing foundation, an amazing base, that where you can be incredibly resilient, not just become old and have back pain and get dry skin and wrinkles. Like, you'll never have to have that theoretically, which I do 100% believe. I'm just saying theoretically, just because of maybe legal reasons or whatever. Maybe, do I even need to say theoretically? I feel like if I don't, I'm going to be too arrogant or whatever. But I do believe with 100% like faith that, and complete belief that, yes, it would be so that you would never have to experience any of that, because Ajanas says it, and I believe it 100% because I found Ajanas to always be right. I've met several people who knew him. Everybody has amazing testimonials, even if they didn't do it fully. They trust him as an individual, as an amazing, unique, very special person who have the most full life they've ever met out of anybody they've ever met. And so yeah, that's a whole nother thing to get into. I'm going to go back into this document. Let me make sure my thing's still recording. I really don't want to edit this video. Okay, so some people need to exercise 2 to 3 hours a day. Some need to exercise 11 hours a day. If you have 11 activity readings in your iris, like according to Primal Diet, you're going to have to be you're going to have to have a physical labor job, or you're going to have to walk on a treadmill on a standing desk all day. So if you have like 11 activity hormones, man, you are going to have to be very active. And it's going to be impossible to meditate unless you're like do it after an intense workout, basically. So if your mind's wandering too much, it's not that you lack mental control. It's that you need to exercise first. You exercise, you meditate, and even if you're a master, like the masters still apply physical effort in order to ground themselves. It's not all just mental grounding. They'd at least have to do some breathing technique, like that type of stuff, in order to convert the energy. So it's not just about willpower and all in your mind and all that. So it's very helpful to stretch before you meditate, because when you're meditating, you're setting up the ideal environment to reach the meditative state. And so that involves making sure your room is very nice, it's clean, you have decorations, the vastu is proper, the feng shui is proper, the energy flow of the room is set up properly, the north, south, west, east direction, the elements of the room, and like don't have a certain color in certain places, and the plants should be in a certain place, and don't have pictures of your family or people on the walls in your bedroom. There's all sorts of stuff you need to learn. You don't have to learn all of it right now, okay? But if you want to optimize your life in every single way possible, you can master the energy of your room in order to facilitate more powerful experiences more quickly and literally change your entire life, because just by changing your room, even with no willpower, will completely change your life, changing your house in general. So that's a whole thing to get into. I recommend buying KRS Astrology's Vastu course, okay? But clean your room, make an open space in the middle of the room, remove the clutter, get rid of old stuff you don't use, okay? So you exercise, you stretch in order to relax the body, because if you're not relaxed, you're not going to enter a deep state. You need to learn how to mew. Okay, you don't have to do it right now, but you should be mewing while you meditate, not because of looks maxing, but because it connects the upper channel to the lower channel. It goes from the sexual organ to the spine, and it comes back down. If you want to bring the energy down from the third eye down to the third chakra, you have to mew, which connects the tongue to the roof of the mouth so that the energy can flow down. But you don't need to learn all that right now. If you don't know how to mew, don't worry. You can still enter powerful states without mewing. So, sorry. As you can see, I'm not trying to be professional and strict right now. And I'm excited right now. I was meditating and stuff, and got really excited for this video. I'm not just sitting and reading it, like there's a fly, whatever, okay? And you might be like, yeah, I might be a little hyperactive right now. I'm excited, okay? So, when you first meditate, when you get ready to meditate, if you've only been sitting there for 30 seconds and you're uncomfortable and you want to move, that's okay. The first few minutes, get comfortable. You don't have to immediately sit still. Get comfortable first, because if there's something bothering you, it doesn't matter. 10 or 20 minutes into your meditation, you're not going to be able to enter a deep state because you're still thinking about that thing that's bothering you. Now, if you're just antsy, that's a different thing. You probably need to exercise more or stretch more. And if you're having trouble clearing your mind, or you're bored, or you're tired, breathe more, breathe faster. So instead of breathe, I'm going to get into all this. I'm kind of jumping the gun a little bit, but I don't want to forget anything. I'm just going off freestyle, okay? So if you're breathing normally, like relax, and you're breathing. You're going to be breathing. Okay. So generally, you're going to be breathing in a relaxed manner where you really can't hear your breath. You're going to breathe in a way where you can hear it initially as you settle into it. But if you get bored, or you're losing your train of thought, if you're losing your focus, or you are just not able to concentrate, breathe deeper. More intensely. It's an exercise breath. You're burning activity hormones. Do that for 20, 30 breaths. Okay, those are just some tips. Now, so look, you are setting yourself up. Okay. Now let me just take a step back. I got ahead of myself. Okay. You exercise, you're active, you stretch, you get comfortable. You sit cross-legged, or you can lay down. Don't lay down with one foot over the other. Be symmetrical. I understand that crisscross applesauce, your legs crossed, isn't perfectly symmetrical, but cross-legged is fine. Preferably sit up straight. And you're going to breathe in a manner that is going to relax you. So you're going to breathe deep through the belly, and then exhale. And you're going to breathe in fully, and you're going to breathe in fully and exhale fully. Do that for a few minutes. Over the course of a few minutes, breathe slower and slower. Make your breaths longer and longer. Until the point where some people will take 1 breath per minute, for example. But don't worry about that right now. You're going to breathe slower and slower, deeper and deeper, longer and longer. And you're going to relax and relax and relax. And eventually you apply techniques where maybe you do that for 10 minutes and then you switch it up with a different, breathing rhythm or whatever in the middle of it. But when you get into the position where you're ready to meditate, really try not to move, because you can be in a powerful state. Just move a little bit and snap yourself out of it. But sometimes you're in a state where you can move a little bit and it doesn't snap you out of it if you maintain your focus. But my experience in psychedelics is often that, particular acid, I'll be meditating, I'll move my finger, boom, it snaps out of it. Like I was in this powerful, crazy experience. I haven't had these experiences for 7 years, 8 years. But so it's hard to recall it in complete clarity. But it's like I'd be having this incredible experience where it's like super powerful energy. And it's just it's just an amazing state. And my neighbor will drop something above me in the apartment. Snaps out of it. A dog barks outside, snaps out of it, So that's why it's good to be in quiet spaces and peaceful spaces. But the thing is, you might be like, I'm not going to meditate if I can't do that. The thing is, look, even if you're not entering powerful states of consciousness and having out-of-body experiences and stuff, doesn't mean you're not doing anything, because every time you get distracted and redirect your attention, you're performing a repetition. Just like you're working out. You get distracted, you redirect your focus, you are performing a repetition. And the longer you spend with the attention of concentration, you are going to be gradually making progress. And eventually, you'll have experiences. And even you can have experiences in spite of noise. You could be in a chaotic environment and still have a powerful experience, a powerful meditation. It just depends. It's not always possible or practical, but you can get to that point, and sometimes it's just random. You just randomly are able to enter a deep state. And wow, again, I just checked my camera, and it was it stopped recording again. I did check it like previously and it was still recording, but I caught it a few seconds after again. And when I look at it right now, it's the red dot's on, you know? And so, I don't know if... And I go to the last frame of the video, and I'm still sitting. So I don't think I think it actually is so... So what was I just saying? I'll just go back to this, okay? If you're having trouble meditating, having trouble focusing, suck an egg. If you really want to work hard on meditation and really change your life really quickly, if you want to develop the drive to develop power, it's not always the most whole thing, but it can be driven for good. It can be used for good. As long as it's not for ego and you're developing these powers in order to help people, in order to be a better person, then it's okay. But the intention shouldn't be to have power. You can be excited to have these experiences and grow as a person, but it shouldn't be used for selfish gain. So if you really want to make progress fast, you really can't overtrain with meditation. Like you can overtrain working out. You can't really overtrain meditation, in my opinion. You can just go for a walk and meditate. And then when you're bored and you can't concentrate, you suck an egg and go on a walk. And then you meditate again. And you do that over and over and over. And eventually you eat meat or whatever. Red meat is going to make it a lot hard. Red meat will make it a lot harder to meditate. Fish is the best thing for meditation. If you're going to eat red meat, you're going to have to exercise a lot more. Chicken's also good, but fish is better. But you have to find the proper source, and most of the time you're going to get bad quality, and it's just not going to be good. So it's a whole thing. You have to have a Geiger counter and everything. But the red meat stimulates your adrenaline. If you're already proficient in meditation, you can have powerful experiences, or you're in the perfect state, or you're doing lots of exercise first, then, so if you're eating red meat, just know your mind's going to be a lot more active. And so you can invest a lot of time into your meditation and get results really quickly. And so let me go through my notes. So here's the thing. If you begin to have very powerful, life-changing realizations and you want to stop meditating to write it down, you probably shouldn't. Because it's not the realizations that matter. It's the state of consciousness you are in which you have those realizations. By staying in that consciousness, you change your experience of reality. It imprints inside your subconscious, and it leaves a lasting impression. So it's like, imagine if you went to the gym and you literally build muscles in the gym. You go to the gym, you come home, you rest, and then your muscles grow, right? You have to rest. In meditation, your muscles grow while you're meditating. So if you're in a powerful experience, that's like the anabolic state of like working out. Your muscles are growing. Your spiritual muscles are growing. Do not stop. If you are in a powerful state of meditation, stay in it as long as possible. You want to milk that out as much as you can. And if you've had a powerful life-changing realization, have faith that if it was important and you forgot it, you'll remember again, because you thought of it one time. The fact you thought of it one time is the fact you were capable of realizing that means your energy inside of you changed. Your energy is going to stay changed, or it's going to be easier to change it back again. And if you stop the meditation, you might have missed out on even more realizations. Like I had this incredible meditation during the solar eclipse last summer, 2024. I entered a trance and I saw that my sexual energy powers my heart and brings life to my body. And I felt my sexual energy go into my heart, and it was beating boom, 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 so powerfully. And I felt waves of bliss shoot throughout my body. And it was like the most amazing feeling ever. And I had all these realizations. And if I just stopped my meditation and wrote it down, no, I tried to stay in that as long as possible. I didn't want to stop and write it down. I wanted to stay in that. And I had urges to stop, to write things down. But I told myself to stay. And I continued to realize more things. So look, another thing. If you are meditating to figure something out, when you meditate, your goal is to enter the deep state of consciousness. You want to enter the meditative state. You can meditate and immediately realize something, but don't focus so hard on trying to realize it. Focus first on letting go of what you're even trying to do. Find peace. Find that state of equilibrium. Enter the meditative state. And then redirect your attention back to what you wanted to figure out. And so I invented the word spiritual neurotransmitter in order to explain what facilitates spiritual experiences. There are some that are known by science, such as DMT, which is like actually known by science. It's produced when you have near-body experiences, or out-of-body experiences. Look this up on YouTube. Look this up on YouTube. Very important. If you want to understand more to reality. The Other Side, NDE. Sort by most popular, watch those experiences. It's experiences of people dying and coming back to life and sharing what they experienced. And so as you develop spiritually, your spiritual prowess develops, your psychic ability, your intuitive ability, which is facilitated by the spiritual neurotransmitters. You have intuition because you have spiritual neurotransmitters active in the brain. That's how I see it. It accesses the auric field. It accesses the energy, you know. And so, for example, psychedelics, they flood your brain with large amounts all at one point. There's pros and cons of that too. And I'm going to have a whole video explaining that also. And I don't think I want to get into that part of it right now. And I think I'm going to leave it at that for now. So what is there to learn from this? You have to exercise before you meditate. You have to be active. You need to stretch before you meditate. And when you meditate, you need to learn how to breathe through your belly to relax. If you get bored while meditating, increase the intensity of your breaths. Breathe faster and deeper for 10, 20, 30 breaths, and then go back into it. And sometimes when you're bored and you want to stop meditating, sometimes it's actually the best time to keep going, because sometimes you break through that hurdle and then you access the state. And when you want to quit but you keep going, you're actually, I believe, you're developing mental toughness. People do cold exposure to develop mental toughness. I think it's harmful to the body. But if you're bored and you want to stop meditating but you don't, that's possible mental toughness. Or your body's telling you, hey, I'm not grounded right now. And if that's the case, maybe you need to go exercise more. Or maybe you shouldn't be meditating right now and you have responsibility you need to take care of first, because that would be more important. Take care of your responsibilities before you meditate so you don't have to worry about it. And if you're really like ungrounded, you know, touch the grass, lay down outside, stretch outside. It's good to walk, stretch outside in the grass, then come inside to meditate. That's good. You can stretch in your room too. But yeah. Okay.